Hello everyone, welcome to Muscle Code. So today in this video we're gonna see some common interview questions that were asked as in C Sharp, .NET Core, SQL and the Angular one. So let's go one by one. So first question is, what is an abstract class? Abstract class. So abstract class is a class that cannot be instantiated directly. So it may contain the abstract method and the non-abstract method as well. So it is used for the common base functionality with the enforced child implementation. Okay. So the next question is, how can we achieve polymorphism in ASP.NET Core? Okay. So the polymorphism can be achieved in ASP.NET Core like compile time polymorphism and the runtime polymorphism. So we use it heavily in the dependency injection. Okay. That's the example as I lover. Okay. So the third question is, what is an extension method? So extension method lets you add a new method to the existing type without modifying the original type. Okay. Suppose we want to add our own method in a string class, we create the extension method for that. Okay. Then the next question is, how do we follow open closed principle? Okay, this is related with the solid principles. This open closed principle defines it is open for the extension and closed for the modification. So it can be actually using the interfaces inheritance or the strategy pattern. As an example, instead of modifying, let's say we have a payment system and we want to add a new payment, and then we'll just add an interface, let's say iPayment, that implementation like credit card payment or maybe the PayPal payment. Okay. So the next question, for what purpose do we use the single responsibility principle? Okay. So it ensures each class has an only one responsibility, that when there is suppose we have different classes and one class should have only the one task for that class. Okay. So it makes the code easier to maintain and test and extend. Okay. The next question is, what is middleware? So middleware is a software pipeline component that processes the HTTP requests and the responses. Okay, each middleware can handle the modify or pass request to the next middleware. So middleware can be created using the app.run or app.use. App.run is a short-circuiting middleware. Okay, app.run, it does not forward the next request, and while the app.use is a non-terminating, that is we can transfer your request to another component, I mean the middleware. Okay. So as a next question, how can we create the custom middleware? Okay. And where you have used in this in your project. So custom middleware can be created by implementing a class I mean the interface iMiddleware. It has a method invoke async where you write your logic. Okay. And the next question is, How can we register services in ASP.NET Core? So this can be achieved using the dependency ingestion container that is in the program.cs. We just add those services using the builder object, that is builder.services.add transit, or maybe the add scope or the add singleton, and we just mention inside uh, that bracket the interface and its implementing class. Okay, so the next question is, what is a REST in API? So REST, as it defines the representational state transfer, is an architectural style using the HTTP methods. So what are those HTTP methods? Get, post, put, patch, delete. Generally we just get, post, put, delete. Okay, that is the CRUD operation. Then the next question is, how can we improve the performance of API? Okay, so this can be improved using the caching or async await for the IO operations, and we can also use the pagination as well as use the compression, and we can optimize the DB queries with the indexes. Okay, so this will improve the performance of API. Then the next question is, have you implemented the caching? So caching can be implemented in our project where for the frequently access data like product list, configure data, or suppose the user roles are there. So in that case, we can implement the caching by iMemory cache or iDistributor cache. Okay. So the next question was, what are different types of caching? Okay. So in-memory caching, distributed caching, output caching, and client-side caching. These are some kinds of caching. So in-memory caching is data stored in a server memory. For distributed caching, it is shared across the multiple servers, and for the output caching, it catches in the full responses. Okay, whatever the request is sent in, and the response we get, we store the whole response in a cache. Okay, and for the client side caching, we catches the headers and the browser cache. Okay, so the next question is, how can we secure a web API? Okay, so this can be secured using JWT token for authentication. Also, we can use the HTTPS. We can also use the cost policy, and we can implement the rate limiting and the input validation. So the next question is, difference between MVC controller and web API controller. So MVC controller has a return type like a view, views or JSON. It generally returns the view, while the API controller returns the JSON or XML data by default. MVC has the its action result is a view result, while the web API control has the action result as a HTTP action result. We can use MVC controller with the web API, web apps with the UI, while the web API controller can be used with the REST APIs. Okay, the next question is, what is the difference between single and first method in link? Okay, so single, it expects the exactly one element that throws exception if none or more than one element found. Okay, while the first, it returns the first element or may throw the exception if none is found. Okay, so the next question, what is a CTE? So CTE stands for the common table expression. It is a temporal result set used within a query. We can write the city as with the city name as, and we just pass the, we just write the query inside the bracket, and we use those cities in somewhere else. Okay, then the next question is, what is a rank function? The rank gives with the gaps. Okay, it gives ranks with the gaps. How can we write those rank? Let's say we have query select name score, and the rank functions over the order by score. Okay, this way we can use those rank functions. Then next question is, how can you improve the performance of SQL? So we can improve those performance using the indexes, or we can avoid the select statement, select star statement, star, instead of using the star we can mention only those columns we want to use, instead of writing, instead of using all the columns, that is with the star. Then we can also perform, we can increase those performance using joins instead of subqueries. We can use proper normalization and execution plan to optimize the query. Okay, the next question is, what is the difference between union and union all? Okay, so union, it removes the duplicates, while the union all keeps the duplicates, and union all is a faster because it doesn't have to check for the duplicates, while the union has to check the duplicates, so that's its a performance is slow as compared to the union all. The next question is, how can we share the data between components in Angular? Okay, in Angular we can share the data between different components using either input, output, or let's say we have services, we can share it across, and we have router parameters. Also, we have different NGRX like state management, local storage. Okay, then next question is, how can we handle the errors in Angular? we can handle using the try catch block or error handler services as a global. We can also use the HTTP interceptors for API errors. Okay, then next question is what RxJX operator you use in your the project. Let's say we have different operators of the features of RHS for different purposes like map, filter, merge map, switch map, concat, debounce time, then catch error, withdraw. Okay. The next question is what is content projection in Angular? So content projection allows us to pass the content that is into in a HTML into a component. We just use the ng-content tag where we want to project that HTML content. The next question is what is a change detection in Angular? Change detection. So change detection is a mechanism that checks and updates the view when the data changes. So it's a default strategy. It checks all the components like that. While it has another strategy that is on push. It checks only when the input references changes. Okay. Then the next question is what is Angular guards? So it is used for the control navigation. It has different types like can activate or we can say the can deactivate, can load, resolve. Okay. So the next question is how can we create a custom pipe? So as a first question, it will ask what is a pipe, and then he will ask how can you create the custom pipe. So pipes are used to transform the data that is need to be rendered in the UI, and we can create those custom pipes by implementing the pipe transform class where we have a method like transform where we write our logic. Okay, and for that class that is implementing the pipe transform class, we just decorate it with the pipe and we mention the pipe name. Okay, then the next question is what is a CSS box model? CSS box model is used for every HTML element and it defines the content, padding, border, and margin. Okay, so just write CSS box model. Okay, then the next question is the properties of box model. As I mentioned here, that we have content, padding, border, and margin. Then the next question is session storage versus local storage. Okay, so station storage has a lifetime until the tab is closed, while the local storage is persisted until it is cleared. Session storage has a scope per tab per window, and the local storage has its a scope across all tabs of the domain. Okay, so these are some interview questions that were asked as commonly in interview, maybe in the first round, not up to the second, not even the second round. These are all common interview questions. Okay, as a first video, we'll stop here and we will upload the new video for the ASP.NET Core interview questions. Till then, just subscribe my channel Keep watching. Thank you.